Data coming in from other satellites indicate that Omega-1 has destroyed Pluto and other Kuiper Belt objects.
So this Omega-Dash is a planet buster.
Jesus Christ.
Later, in the void.
What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, and welcome back to the Savvy Show. And in today's episode, we have another SCP that was a recommendation from the family. You guys were telling me this SCP was really dope when you guys first watched it, and you guys wanted me to dive deep. And this was, I believe, it was just released within a few days ago, so it's not too old. So yo, I'm ready to dive deep, man. This SCP is 1548. The Star, the Hateful. So, yo, the title alone is pretty, weird per se. Like, I'm not just gonna think it's just one random star and it just hates a certain planet. I feel like it's gonna be a lot deeper than that. And it seems like on the surface level it might be a pretty powerful SCP, but I know one thing for sure: we're gonna find out today. So if you guys are excited for this reaction and you guys are one of the people that suggested this to me, feel free to let me know how you guys thought about the comment section below, and remember to smash that like button if you enjoy the reaction along the way. And remember, like always, smash the sub button if you're not part of the family. Guys, I make reactions like this daily for you guys, so you'll never be bored on this channel, especially if you enjoy my reaction style and you love SCP content. This is the #1 channel you should stay plugged to. And talk about being plugged, remember to turn on post notifications so you do not miss an upload, because YouTube doesn't always let you know when I post something, even if you're subbed. So it behooves you to stay plugged by smashing that bell. So with all out the way, like always, special shout out to SCP Explained Stories and Animation for bringing this for me to react to today. So with that all out the way, let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-1548, The Star, the Hateful. Let's get it popping, guys.
A swarm of bloodthirsty entities waits outside the protective boundary that surrounds the solar system. They surge through the vacuum of space looking for vulnerabilities in the force field that protects us from their destructive
There's more than one?
powers. The creatures ran themselves against the barrier again and again, trying to break through. Upon impact, the force field shimmers a golden color and displays a series of thaumaturgical symbols. But it holds. Suddenly, something flies through the protective shield from inside the solar system. It leaves a hole.
So
Two
satellite?
creatures enter our solar system before the shield closes.
Uh-oh.
This may be the end for humanity. The 6th Overseer sits at a computer terminal massaging the bridge of his nose. He has just logged into the Foundation database to gather information on an anomaly whose intentions are still unknown. The O5 Council wants him to vote on an extreme measure, but he requires more information first. There is something coming. He can feel it. And he thinks it has something to do with SCP-1548.
Okay.
O5-6 straightens his back and sits up in his chair. He logs back into the Foundation database and brings up the entry for SCP-1548. He knows that this SCP has been connected to some odd occurrences recently, but what are its true intentions?
Please explain.
Is SCP-1548 trying to help save the universe? Or is it a malicious entity hell-bent on destroying it? O5-6 must find out.
If this entity never came into their own universe, how would you have any information on the SCP? Is it just me, but isn't that kind of weird? Unless you... No, they wouldn't have access to the Library of Knowledge. Oh no, let me just keep it pushing.
He scrolls through the first few entries. SCP-1548 itself is a series of solar phenomena that occur at the south pole of the sun. During these events, the sun's plasma morphs into different thaumaturgical symbols.
So this SCP was born from the sun? From what we're gathering right now?
Each symbol is tens of thousands of miles across. The symbols themselves have not all been classified by the Foundation yet, but there are 3 that have been observed multiple times. The first is an unnamed symbol that, when inscribed on a telescopic device by a person with thaumaturgical abilities, can identify psionic entities.
Wait, what abilities? What are you talking about?
Been classified by the Foundation yet, but there are 3 that have been observed multiple times. The first is an unnamed symbol that, when inscribed on a telescopic device by a person with thaumaturgical abilities...
Thaumaturgical abilities? What is that? Like a superhuman that has specific powers? What?
can identify psionic entities with malicious intents. The second symbol is known as the Calfastian Isle, which when displayed on a material, strengthens it immensely and gives
Okay.
it the ability to absorb kinetic and electromagnetic energy.
That's some
The
more
final
simple.
symbol is the 12
Yo.
Holy Owls of Cerinthium.
Oh.
When this symbol is affixed to an object, any entity that is killed by it will immediately annihilate and take everything in its radius with it. 05-6 jots a note on the
AoE,
pad of
okay.
paper sitting on his desk. He has seen some of these symbols before. They are connected to the Ortufin mythology. The practitioners of this religion are known as the Church of the Second Hateful, and are a mix of human and alien entities whose main purpose is to aid the guardian deity of the universe, Rakmu, in combating any threat that may try to wipe out this existence.
So that was a whole nother group I had no idea about until this reaction. What? A group of aliens? Well, let's see what they're called again. What the heck?
05-6 jots a note on the pad of paper sitting on his desk. He has seen some of these symbols before. They are connected to the Ortufin mythology.
Ortufin mythology.
The practitioners of this religion are known as the Church of the Second Hateful, and are a mix of
Church of the Second Hateful. What? Dang, how many churches are in this universe, guys? Oh my god.
human and alien entities whose main purpose is to aid the guardian deity of the universe, Rakmu,
Is that
in combating
SCP?
any threat that may try to wipe out this existence. There must be a connection between the Church of the Second Hateful and SCP-1548, 05-6 thinks. He scrolls back through the SCP-1548 file to the entry logged on May 17, 1983. The first time an event connected to SCP-1548 was recorded. A probe picked up the manifestation of thaumaturgic symbols on the south pole of the sun. It was odd.
Thaumaturgic symbols.
Nothing other than the manifestation of the symbols seemed to occur. This event was recorded as Extra Normal Event 9008 and logged into the SCP database.
What
the
the
event was
heck?
all but forgotten until December 23rd, 2016.
That
when
long?
The activity
Oh
of
my god.
SCP-1548 really began to pick up.
They took their sweet ass time, just saying, no cap, like, yo.
On that day, SCP-1548 began manifesting protection symbols in rapid succession. Over the next few months, a dense cloud of ionized gas formed around the solar system. This ionized wall of radiation surrounded the heliopause, the boundary where the sun's radiation gives way to the vacuum of space.
Oh, okay, that's
Over
heliopause.
time, this cloud became thicker, until no light from outside of the solar system could enter. Foundation
What?
censorship protocols were quickly used to disseminate false data, suggesting that the solar system was passing through a dense cloud of cosmic dust. And that was what was altering the night sky
No.
and causing the stars to disappear.
It's a lot more than
But as
that.
05-6 continues to
How long did that last, too? Until the dust dispersed. Yo, no light? What the heck?
scan the files, he knows what the true cause of this phenomenon is. It must be SCP-1548. But why?
Yeah, but
Is
why
the
would it
anomaly
must,
trying to
like...
protect us from something outside of our solar system? Or is it trying to trap humanity within, with no means of escape?
So I'm assuming they're referring to the smoke, the cosmic dust that is, blocking out the light. So it would be one thing of, protecting the Earth from something coming, like from the sun maybe, who knows, or from another planet. That's why they're blocking out all the light. Or is trying to just, kill the humans off without any light. But this is just really confusing so far. We're only almost 5 minutes in.
05-6 stands up and stretches. Ah, that's enough for today, he says out loud to the empty room.
Oh my
He
god.
walks towards the door and reaches for the handle.
You didn't come to a conclusion yet.
Sirens start going off and red lights begin to flash. 05-6 spins around and runs back to the computer terminal. An emergency alert begins coming through. The Falcon Light 5 rocket that launched earlier in the day to bring supplies to the International Space Station has spontaneously lost 50% of its mass mid-flight. 05-6 frantically begins typing. He brings up videos from surveillance satellites. The Overseer watches in horror as pieces of debris and bodies of the crew float through the silence
Sheesh.
of space. The rocket looks like it has been cut directly down the middle.
It doesn't look like this SCP is trying to save us. Like literally, what the
And
heck?
half of the structure has vanished from existence.
Ah,
What is happening? Suddenly another alert comes in.
It vanished out of nowhere. Right now? Like right when he was like watching it? Yo, what the heck? What is going on with this SCP, bro? This is too much for me.
Debris and bodies of the crew float through the silence of space. The rocket looks like it has been cut directly down the middle, and half of the structure has vanished from existence. What is happening? Suddenly another alert comes in. All communication has been lost with the International Space Station. Without warning, the space station begins broadcasting a series of cognito hazards. O5-6 quickly changes the channel to stop the signal from transmitting through his computer. Reports start coming in from around the world that anyone who continued listening to the cognito hazard signals began entering trances. Then their brain completely evaporated from their skulls.
I was literally about to say, yo, I love me a good chance, but goddamn, I'm not the brain evaporating part. What the heck? From their skull completely? Let's see how long that lasts. If they said
to stop the signal from transmitting through his computer. Reports start coming in from around the world that anyone who continued listening to the cognito hazard signals began entering trances. Then their brain completely evaporated from their skulls.
Whoever just listens to it, doesn't matter how long, is if you just listen to it or keeps on listening to it. They didn't say like a time frame, so deadly.
There is a surge of thaumaturgic particles in orbit around the Earth. O5-6 traces the particles back to their source. They came from SCP-1548.
How are they so sure, though? Like, they've been saying through this whole episode that it has to be SCP-1548. It has to be. But you guys don't even know the intention of this SCP, so how are you so sure that it has to be SCP-1548? There's so many SCPs out there. Like, I just don't know why they're so sure, or why they're fixated on just this one being the reason of all this stuff happening. Is it just me thinking this? Like what?
The signal from the ISS stops abruptly. The entire space station changes course. It is on a trajectory to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. The friction and heat will rip the space station apart. O5-6 can't believe what is happening. It seems as if SCP-1548 helped humanity in a way by stopping the signals from the ISS. But how can he be sure that SCP-1548 wasn't responsible for the cognito hazards in the first place?
But why would it stop it?
More information.
But why would it stop it, though? Why would he just contradict himself like that? Like what?
O5-6 searches for answers as more anomalies connected to SCP-1548 start occurring around the world. During a political demonstration in Berlin, a thaumaturgic way opens up that leads to a pocket dimension. Soon after, the appearance of the portal, Koru Archpriest Farah Octanus, the leader of the Church of the Second Hytoth, makes an announcement. He claims that the way leads to a shelter, which will protect people from the coming doom of the universe.
Hold up, give me one more second. That literally looks like the portal from the Serpent's Hand. The same portal, literally, that will go to the library. Unless I didn't hear it right, hold on.
During a political demonstration in Berlin, a thaumaturgic way opens up that leads to a pocket dimension.
Yeah, because that library is in some kind of pocket dimension. Is that the same place they're going to?
Soon after, the appearance of the portal, Koru Archpriest Farah Octanus.
What is that? Yo, is that another name for the library? Like, yo, there's no way someone could just know that.
The leader of the Church of the Second Hytoth makes an announcement. He claims that the way leads to a shelter.
Okay, Church of the Second Hytoth, so the human and alien church. Cool as we get to see another human besides the alien, but goddamn, like, are they going to the same place or just another, library dimension? Because they said that's like some kind of sanctuary.
Which will protect people from the coming doom of the universe. The people in the area, along with the members of the Church of the Second Hytoth, make their way into the portal. 2 undercover Foundation agents follow the group. After everyone has entered,
the
way immediately closes,
oh my God.
And there is no further contact. What does the Church of the Second Hytoth know that we don't?
One, I'm just surprised that they actually just went in there without any prior knowledge of, what SCPs are. These are just regular civilians, right? And they just went to like a portal without knowing they could come back home or not. Not even calling their families or anything. Bruh, that ain't gonna be me, I can tell you that much.
O5-6 wonders. He continues monitoring the situation and looking for answers. Suddenly a message comes through all Foundation channels. It is coming from the sun. It is not SCP-1548.
It starts with an S. It's such a weird long name, like Sam is some. I know this SCP. It's a Samuel Class SCP. I covered it like a few weeks ago. Yo.
Instead, it is SCP-179. The humanoid permanently in space near the sun.
Yep.
179 sends out one clear word in its signal. Defend. Who is SCP-179 talking to?
Not a good sign.
O5-6 thinks. What needs to be defended? Is it humanity? Our solar system? The universe?
This guy's just thinking about this casually. Why there's a freaking calamity going on in the SCP Foundation. Yo, what? Come on.
Alarm begins to go off. What now? O5-6 screams. He brings up the alert. The screen flashes to the moon. O5-6 focuses in on where the alert is coming from. It is a Foundation base called Area 32. What remains left of the base is reporting that SCP-2821 suddenly expanded in size.
Okay, for one, they have a base on the moon. Badass completely. That's fucking awesome. But this is a whole nother SCP. What was it again? I think it was 2121 or something.
Alert is coming from. It is a Foundation base called Area 32. What remains left of the base is reporting that SCP-2821 suddenly expanded in size.
Seems pretty cool.
A wormhole that led to another region of the universe, and then vanished through it, taking 38 Foundation members and 10 anomalies with it.
Wait,
Sirens
what?
continue to go off.
Was that from
Distress
random?
signals are being picked up on every channel. It seems as if the world is coming to an end.
What is going on?
Everything that is happening is somehow connected to SCP-1548. A static-filled transmission begins coming in from SCP-3417. The words are urgent. All Ortufins here. All Ortufins must listen now.
All Ortufins?
The stars are lost. Static breaks up the transmission for a few moments before it resumes. Ago, the first invasion occurred. The gods were unprepared, never comprehending the fragility of the universe after its creation. The worlds must fight. The transmission cuts off. Everything goes silent.
I don't think that message was for us. We're not Ortofins or whatever he was saying. Is he trying to talk to other beings, at least maybe Satan in like a god level, or someone from another dimension, and we just got access of this? What?
A pulsating SCP icon appears on the screen of O5-6's computer. It is the part of the puzzle he has been waiting for.
Really?
In 1999, the O5 Council unanimously voted to launch a mission called Seraph-1 to explore beyond the heliosphere. And the mission's true purpose was to explore the plausibility of extraterrestrial SCP objects in space.
The deer, that's the one I was like literally thinking about when the message said gods. I was thinking about the deer and the Scarlet King and other ones too, but like, yo, man.
The message that O5-6 just received is from Seraph-1. It is relaying information back to Earth. The video shows the barrier of ionized radiation that SCP-1548 had created glowing orange at the border of the heliopods.
What?
The radioactive wall seems to be made up of complex geometric patterns around 6,000 miles across.
Is that boy really using a ruler to measure how far the distance is from... We're going to keep it pushing.
Seraph-1 accelerates towards the barrier. It smashes through the protective shell. The probe has entered interstellar space. O5-6 knows that everything he is seeing is on a delay.
And that was the probe from the beginning of this whole episode, when we didn't even know what was going through. Now we know where that was coming from. It was a probe that got launched in 1999.
As the information being sent back by Seraph-1 needs to travel vast distances, and it takes significant time for signals to reach Earth.
Dang.
After passing through the ionized barrier, the connection to Seraph-1 is lost. Over the next few days,
got the message out though.
O5-6 tries to link the anomalies happening in the solar system to SCP-1548.
He's been through, look at his hair.
The Foundation still hasn't concluded if 1548 is harmful or trying to protect the solar system in some way. Then a message comes in from Seraph-1. It has briefly regained communication with the Foundation.
Whoa.
Most of the probe's instruments have been destroyed, but its rear-facing camera is still broadcasting. O5-6 pulls up the feed. He stares at the screen in horror as the images unfold before him. The camera captures swarms of unknown entities surrounding the heliopods. The bodies of the entities are asymmetrical, with countless appendages and unknown structures jutting out from their cores. They seem to range in size from 10 kilometers to 10,000 kilometers across, although some seem so large that their size can only be hypothesized.
What the heck?
The swarms crash into the protected barrier.
That's like the size of a planet. Yo, they're not trying to save us. Like, yo, come on now. There's no way. There's no way they're looking like that trying to save us. Bro, I'll be super surprised. Honestly, I'm sure it is hateful. It's not trying to save us. They're not jolly looking like that, bro. Come on now.
Barrier that SCP-1548 has created around the solar system. Each time part of the swarm rams the barrier, thousands of thaumaturgic symbols and solar flares appear at the point of impact.
What?
Two entities that are later classified as 1548 Omega-1 and 1548 Omega-2 are captured entering the solar system by Seraph-1's camera.
Omega?
Video from Seraph-1 shows that as the probe exited through the protective barrier, it created a hole that remained open for a few moments. During the time that the shield of ionized radiation was vulnerable, 1548-Omega-1 and 1548-Omega-2 entered through it. They are now inside the solar system. SCP-1548 launches countermeasures in the form of glowing red sigils that create shockwaves to slow down Omega-1 and Omega-2.
Is that a monster?
Omega-1 is shaped like an eel with 5 contorted arms radiating from its body and a mouth made of impossible geometric shapes. Omega-2 has a tetrahedral structure that leaves a trail of black rocks in its wake.
Literally looks like an onyx with a pyramid for a head. Yo, what? Come on now. You could have made a better design than that.
As the two entities move towards the sun, SCP-1548 becomes more active. It closes the hole in the barrier before any other creatures of the swarm can enter.
That's smart.
Launches hundreds of concentrated blasts of thaumic energy at Omega-2.
Okay, so the thaumic energy is like some type of sun energy. Okay, now that's making sense, because I had no idea where that energy was coming from.
The flares vaporize the entity in seconds. The last thing the video feed
of
Seraph-1 captures before it cuts out is Omega-1 disappearing from view as it creeps towards the center of the solar system.
Yo.
It has escaped the protective measures of SCP-1548.
Jesus.
After the O5 Council reviews the footage, they decide to deploy the SCP's Cortana to intercept Omega-1.
Cortana?
The orbital vessel is fully equipped with experimental anomalous weapons and propulsion systems. The Council is sure that the Cortana will be able to destroy Omega-1.
Omega-1? Like... So is this just a variation of this SCP? Like 1548 Omega-1? Is that like just an extension of this SCP? Or is it just its own, you know, entity itself within this SCP? Because it's so confusing what is actually this SCP. I'm assuming it's like those little star stuff that's like trying to break the barrier. But Omega Dash, I don't know what the Omega Dash means from, you know, just a regular SCP dash number. Well, I don't know that difference. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section below. I'm just a little confused from that.
Data coming in from other satellites indicate that Omega-1 has destroyed Pluto and other Kuiper Belt objects.
So this Omega Dash is a planet buster. An extension of SCP is a planet buster? Yo. And he literally just whacked his tail on Pluto. Like, oh my god, yo. This is crazy.
Slowly making its way to the center of the solar system, annihilating everything in its path. The Cortana intercepts Omega-1 near Jupiter and engages the creature.
Yeah.
After 10 minutes of battling, communication with the ship is lost. Probes in the area capture footage of the Cortana and Omega-1 in mid-battle, when they are suddenly surrounded by a black substance and both vanish from sight.
What?
5-6 and the other
He's like, hey, you ain't fighting in my backyard. You guys gotta bounce. They took them both out. Oh my god.
Council members watch in anticipation, unsure of what has just happened. Then the black substance dissipates.
Okay.
The SCP's Cortana sits motionless in space. The entity is nowhere to be seen. A cheer erupts from the Overseers and Foundation members in the room.
Y'all don't know what happened though. Y'all didn't defeat it. Why are you guys cheering? Yo, let's wait until the end.
It seems the entity has been defeated. Then, without warning, the Cortana accelerates rapidly. It's on a collision course with Mars. As the ship hurtles past one of the probes in the asteroid belt, the Foundation members see an organic mass resembling that of Omega-1 attached to the hull of the ship. The Overseer Council watches in horror.
What am I talking
as
about?
the SCP's Cortana smashes into the red planet, leaving a crater 250 miles wide.
Is this kamikaze
the
himself?
energy released from the impact instantly ionizes the thin atmosphere of Mars, causing the surface to turn into molten rock. From the epicenter of the impact crater, a black organic mass begins to crawl across the planet. The Overseers are frozen in fear.
How did they fit so much in like a span of a few minutes? There's so much stuff going on. Was the ship heading towards Mars willingly? Or was it just out of control? And the SCP was on it, so was he controlling it? Like, what the heck? Oh my god. This SCP, man.
But SCP-1548 immediately deals with the entity that is devouring the surface of Mars. From the sun comes the largest SCP-1548 instance
Hold
ever.
up.
But from the epicenter of the impact crater, a black organic mass begins to crawl across the planet. The overseers are frozen in fear. But SCP-1548 immediately deals with the entity that is devouring the surface of Mars.
So the entity is the Omega-1, or is there another entity that's devouring Mars right now? Or is it the black sludge that's coming out of that mountain that looks like a volcano?
From the sun comes the largest SCP-1548 instance ever recorded. A solar flare is jettisoned towards Mars. The impact causes a fusion reaction so intense that for a moment, Mars shines as brightly as the sun.
Okay, so so the sun's the SCP? That big ass sun that shows all those patterns. That does the thermal energy stuff. That is the actual SCP-1548.
The 1548 instance ever recorded. A solar flare is jettisoned towards Mars. The impact causes a fusion reaction so intense that for a moment, Mars shines as brightly as the sun.
That's crazy.
The planet...
This SCP is so... I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I'm so blown from all the stuff that's happening right now. I can't even, like, for sure say this is all that the SCP is. Like... And the Omega Dash, there's so much stuff I need clarity on.
It explodes. Its debris is cast across the solar system. Over time, it will create a second asteroid belt in the orbit that Mars once inhabited. The Overseer Council is now convinced that the threat has been dealt with. SCP-1548 is holding the swarm at bay outside of the solar system, at least for the moment.
Okay, so the swarm isn't SCP-1548. So... those aren't the stars. So I guess maybe they are saving humanity? Or helped at least Mars. Because Mars blew up. And
that Mars once inhabited.
Yeah.
The Overseer Council is now convinced that the threat has been dealt with. SCP-1548 is holding the swarm at bay outside of the solar system, at least for the moment. O5-6 returns to his office. He brings up the file on SCP-1548. He is still unsure of this SCP's true intentions.
Yeah.
It seems to be protecting humanity, but why? O5-6 sits back in his chair and scrolls to the end of the file. There is an update to the file by O5-3, something that wasn't there before. O5-6 opens the new entry and reads the caption, "All that's left of our infinite, ever-expanding universe." O5-6 scrolls down. The image is a picture taken by Seraph 1 before contact was lost.
Let's see.
It is a picture of all that remains of the universe. There are 2 dots of light, and nothing else but blackness.
Holy shit.
The swarm has destroyed everything in
It's
the
over.
universe, except for those 2 faraway stars and our own solar system, which was protected by SCP-1548.
Why, though?
But how long can it hold out against a universe-destroying force? Only time will tell. Now go check out...
Okay. Guys, if you guys don't already know, this was just so much information about this one SCP that has a plethora of other things attached to this SCP. First, I want more information about these things that could, basically wipe out our universe. And the Omega Dashes, like, were those SCPs attached to this SCP? And the other SCP that was on, not Mars, on the moon, at the SCP moon base. Like, there's so much, and it was a lot to take in. So if you guys weren't as confused as I was, and you guys could explain certain things, please let me know in the comment section below. And also remember, let me know how you guys thought about this reaction. I thought this was a really cool animation. Even though they had a lot of information, I still thought it was a great one. Let me know if you guys thought the same. And also, if you guys suggested this one for me, let me know if you guys enjoyed the reaction. It would be awesome if you did. If you didn't, please let me know as well too. So with that all out the way, remember to smash the sub button and also smash the notification button so you can always stay plugged with each and every upload. And unfortunately, that concludes today's episode. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one.